Hey guys, and welcome back to Brexit, Brexit Britain, a country that has been branded by the Israeli ambassador as racist, anti-Semitic, Islamophobic, homophobic, misogynistic, seriously sexist. Chucking all that mud. And in other news, Amnesty International has branded Israel an apartheid regime. Teach them for calling us names. And also, welcome back to By Any Means Necessary. Thank you so much for all your messages you sent me, and a special thanks here to everyone who signed up to my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that have signed up, so thank you so much for that. I'll go through all your messages, I'll answer as many as I can, but I will like all your messages for definite. So again, we're starting with this with the cat, it seems. You know, I think there's a bit of like overkill going on here now, because you know this young man, he's been fined like 250 grand. He's lost sponsors. You know, West Ham, I believe West Ham's lost a sponsor. He was horribly booed the other night. You know, it's been non-stop on the TV and on the radio about him. Do you know what I mean? So I'd like to know how much more punishment is expected for this young man, because you know you have to put this into real perspective. You know, as black people, we know that that the true English, right, look at our lives, right, as less than a cat or a dog, right. We know that and we accept that, right, because you know what, that's who these people are, right. But if you look at, for example, you know, I think 2 seasons ago or last season, right? The FA or one of the other FAs was fined for some type of racism, and they got fined £17,000. Right? Or if you look at the incident with Patrick Evra, I think, isn't it? When one of his teammates, you know, or I don't know if the guy might play for the opposition. Right, you know, I think called him El Negro or something like that, right? But when it was spoken about, it was like, oh well, you know, in our language, you know, for you know the only we haven't got another name for black people in our language, right? At which point I always said to them, so in your language, don't you have the word ebony? Because I'm sure that's been broken down into every language. Right? But it seems like a lot of people on the telly, when they're speaking about this, they never ask them these questions. They never say, well, what about ebony? Right? Because you know, because all the people that I've ever said that to, who have expressed to me that in our language, yeah, we don't really have a word for black, right? So the word always starts around negro. And I say, well, what about ebony? So you see, I said it's a bit of overkill going on. Do you know what I mean? All over the radio and all these things, there are people doing hour-long shows on this type of thing. Do you know what I mean? While the people who are listening and phoning in are probably eating a bucket of chicken at the time, or tucking into a saveloy or a sausage, right? And then you know, so you know, for me. Right, I think this seems to be serious overkill for this young man. Do you know what I mean? I think it's gone. You know, I think he's been punished, and I think he's been punished enough. You know, the RSPCA have gone and taken his cats as well, right? And you know, the RSPCA will probably want to bring charges against him. You know, but you know, the RSPCA, they may well end up actually giving him back his cats, because you know, because other than that incident, which I don't know what the incident was. I don't know what the incident was about. Whether or not the cat went and done a rather large shit, right, in one of his shoes or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Well, you know, as to what reason he done it for, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Or whether he might just like beating up his cat. But I'm quite sure that the RSPCA will find all them things out. Right? So you know, so for me, that you know, for them to be doing that hours and that on this story is kind of crazy, especially as on the 1st of February. Amnesty International branded Israel an apartheid regime. Right? And now, don't you wonder, how the fuck, right, has this story been buried? Because none of us know. I mean, the story's been buried, right? You know, so much so, that Amnesty International are sort of trying to take back their words on it, right? That's right, because you know, obviously the Israeli foreign minister, you know, he stayed true to form. The first thing he came out and said, well, Amnesty International is anti-Semitic. They're anti-Semites. Right, and that's why they're saying this about Israel and saying, well, you know what, they wasn't speaking about Jewish people. They haven't said the Jewish people have got the Palestinians in an apartheid regime. They haven't said that. Right, they said Israel. Right, so what the fuck has that got to do with anti-Semitism? Right, you know, if you just look at that situation, yeah, all it is, right, it is white people murdering brown people. Break it down. That's what it is, and that's all it is. Right, and that's why the world is standing back as, oh, well, wow, we don't really want to get involved. It's not really our business, right? And besides, right, if we do, we know that our career is done because we're going to be called anti-Semitic, right, for saying to Israel, listen, you need to stop murdering these brown people, right? But you'll be branded as anti-Semitic. I mean, look what happened to Jeremy Corbyn's career. Do you know what I mean? By just saying that he's going to recognise Palestine, right? Every single, all of the Israel supporters came out, right, against Jeremy Corbyn. All of the Israel supporters, right, came out, right. So you have to wonder now, yeah, why the hell has this story been buried? What's going on with this story? Right, our country has been branded as an apartheid regime in 2022, and the world is not speaking about it. The story has been buried. Why has the story been buried? This is what you have to ask yourself, right? Because, see, as I said, yeah, the Israeli foreign minister, right, he just come out and he just put his card straight on the table. You're anti-Semitic for saying that, right? But the thing is with Amnesty International, yeah, they just come out and speak about like genocides and and hunger and poverty and all these type of things, right? And obviously apartheids. Right? But whoever's doing it, they will brand them as that. They've done it to China, right? They've done it to Saudi Arabia, right? So this, right, is not a thing where they could say, oh well, no, this is not a thing where you could say it's anti-Semitic. But all it's down to is stop murdering brown people. Right? Come up with a two-state solution and let the people then get on with their lives instead of having them in the world's biggest prison. Right? It's unfair. Right? So now that Amnesty International has come out and said that, right, I want to know how long this story is going to be buried for, because they're going to keep it buried. Because none of them are talking about it. None of them want to talk about it at all. Last night, yeah, I just sent like one of the presenters. I sent them a message about it, right? And as per usual, obviously they can't get back to me. You know what I mean? Because I said to him, so basically, you're speaking about a cat, while Israel has been branded as committing an apartheid on the Palestinian people, and you're speaking about a cat, and you think that you're not racist. So that was my message. That was to Ian Dell. That was my message to him last night. And obviously he still hasn't got back to me yet, right? Because he can't answer it. He can't. I don't know why he's not speaking about it. I don't know why the world has sat back all this time, right, and allowed this to happen to the Palestinians, allowed a modern day Holocaust to be committed on the Palestinians. I don't understand how the world has done that. But for some reason, the world has done that, right? And then we've got like another day, another party for Boris Johnson. Oh, actually, I just want to read you the actual words what Amnesty International said before we move on to Boris Johnson, right? Amnesty International said this: Israel authorities must be held accountable for committing the crime of apartheid against the Palestinian people, said Amnesty International today, which was the 1st of February. So that's their words. I agree with them, of course. But this is Amnesty International saying this, right? And why is this not all over the media, all over the front pages? No, we have Colleen Bloody Rooney on the front pages. Seriously, we've got Colleen Rooney on the front pages, and the other one, Rebecca Vardy or whatever her name is, and they've got stories all about about Wayne Rooney as well, or Spud, as you like to call him. Right? But anyway, another day, another party for Boris Johnson. But this time, what happened was Boris Johnson, he's been seen at a party, with people standing there with tinsel on, bottles all open bottles and all them things there, right? Of alcohol, of course. Right? Or he looked like, to me, Boris Johnson looked like he's lean. He looked like he'd been out on a night with me, right? Because he looked lean, right? So this happened to him, yeah, in the middle of Prime Minister's questions yesterday, while he was like taking Prime Minister's questions. All the MPs' phones went off, yeah, and his pictures disappeared, and so obviously people started asking him about it, right? You know, and obviously it got a little bit rocky for him in there, but you know, he said, well, you know, this is down to the police, and you think, well, he's really using that as an excuse. The Prime Minister's using the excuse, well, you know, well, the police are investigating me, so I don't think that's a good starting line. I think that's a terrible starting line. I don't think you should be starting there. Right? So, you know, I was watching some Russian TV yesterday, so you don't have to. Right? And the Russians, right? Because remember, Boris Johnson's going over to Poland today, right? And obviously, you know, he's our leader, and obviously, you know, on an international stage, so the world must be taking him very seriously, right? But on Russian TV, this is what the Russians, right? Boris Johnson is described as the most disliked, disrespected and ridiculed character in Britain. Even school children are laughing at him. Dominic Cummings says he's completely under the control of completely under the control and the heel of his young wife. But at the same time, he has ambitions to be like a Roman emperor. Boris Johnson is trying to present himself as the saviour of the whole country. So now you can imagine when he's speaking to Putin, Putin's just going to be like, even school children are laughing at you. I don't need to give you Novichok. You're killing yourself. That's what Putin said. Right, let's talk about some Brexit. Natalie Elphick yesterday, oh my God, she was absolutely priceless in the House of Parliament. She was, you know what? Do you know what? Yeah, Conservative MPs, they, with the stupidity of the Conservative, that just shows how stupid the people of this country are, right? Because with the stupidity of these Tory MPs, right, they never can let you down, right? Natalie Elphick, right, she's an MP of Dover. So obviously she's got all the trucks backed up in her district, right? Where they're just actually in Kent they're just going to be raising the council tax because of the grants they're no longer getting from the EU. So they need to raise the council tax to help. Kent, you know, Kent is the toilet of England now. One time it used to be the garden of England, but now it's the toilet of England, right? So anyway, right, so Natalie Elphick in the House of Parliament yesterday, right? Just an absolute scream. I mean, this woman, she is just the best, right? She is just like, you know what? Just for the joke alone, right? The woman deserves to be in the House of Parliament. Right, just for her sense of humour, just for her hubris, right, just because she is brilliant, right, at being stupid. Right, if there's brilliance in being stupid, Natalie Elphick really is it. Right, this woman, yesterday was complaining about the trucks in Dover. I'm thinking to myself, whoa, here we go. She's gonna start saying, well, this is due to Brexit, and because of Brexit, now my whole constituency is blocked up with lorries, and we've got piss and shit. Sorry, did I say piss and shit? Yeah, I did. Sorry. Yeah, right. We've got piss and shit all over, thrown in hedges, thrown in people's front gardens. Right, people can barely move in Dover. Then she went on to say it's all the fault of the EU. Right, for their belligerence, right, and all their red tape and all this type of nonsense. But listen, we told you all this before, right? You promoted Brexit, and we told you this was going to happen, right? Just seriously, you need to. I don't know if you like. See, I was cracking up because I just found it so funny. Do you know what I mean? Even when I've got people saying to me, oh well, you know, we've left and we're not going back, and that's it, you know, Brexit is done, and like you should stop talking about it. And like, well, what about my 4 favourite words? Why am I not allowed to use my 4 favourite words no more? Right? This is unfair on me. You know me already. I don't like to talk about things that are unfair on me. I do really, right? But right, for these people to say to me, yeah, that I am not allowed to use my right, Brexit was built for these 4 words. It was, Brexit, right, was about these 4 words. The whole of Brexit was about these 4 words. And I'm having a lot of fun with these 4 words as well. You're probably wondering to yourself, could you just get on with it? What the hell are these 4 words? Well, these 4 words, I think, when it comes to Brexit, are the most important words you can possibly find. I told you so. Told you so, Natalie. Told you so. Told you this would happen. I told you so. Right? And you know something? I'm going to milk this for years and years and years because I told you so. And when you're right, you're right. Oh, and then another priceless one. Oh, God almighty. This, I always thought to myself, this guy, right, is just a shadow of his father, right? And that's Ian Paisley Jr., right? From the party who say we do not understand politics, right? He just, in a cry, listen, when you hear an Irishman in a crying voice, right, speaking, then shit's just about to get really serious. The shit is just about to go down, right? And in his crying voice, right, you could hear, right, you could just hear it in his brain. It just kicked in, right, where he said, you know what, the Tories, right, have thrown us under a bus, right, and then they've got a train to drive over that, a skip to fall on it, right, and then they've taken up the remains, and they've put it in the sea and they hold it down, right, with the biggest boulders of rocks you can find. And he just realised that's what the Tories have done to them. Right? Seriously, you really need to check them out, right? Ian Paisley Jr., right, and Natalie Elphick, right? Yesterday's or the day before and even when right, Ian Paisley was giving when he was asking his question, right, there was about 12 people in the chamber. Right, so the Tories are just like, you know what, you guys have been thrown under the bus, right? We used you, motherfuckers. We used you. Just in the same way, right, we used the English, right, to get us the hell away from the EU by punching themselves in the guts, right? Kicking themselves up the backside square, right, with heels on. Just the heel part. A good kick. Right square up the backside, right? And that is what Brexit is. And remember those famous 4 words. I told you so. Anyway, guys, this is By Any Means Necessary. I'm MC John Ribs. It was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.